What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMG Gifts. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMG Gift. Enjoy the video. What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary, and you can't see my lovely face, and you can't see the lovely face of this fantastic gentleman I have here with me today to discuss all the leaderships worst to first in the game. My buddy Bones has come on to help me out once again. Bones, what is going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having me on again. XMG, how's it going? Or XMG fam, how's it going? I mean,
there we go. No, it's, it is Easter night, so we're both a little whooped here, and we just thought that our pictures here would kind of distract a little bit, because we're going to go from the game to this lovely chart. And we have a chart here where we have the best, we have a good leadership, average leadership, not the worst, and trash. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over these characters. We're going to break them down into we're going to look at three things when we grade these. We're going to look at kind of the race-specific side of the leadership. We're going to talk a little bit about like their plug-and-play viability. And then we're going to talk about if we can make them better, because there are no T7s on leaderships, possibly what a T7 could do to make this a usable leadership. Right? Is that what we talked about?
Yep.
All right. So the first leadership, Bones, because we're going to jump right into it, because this is like I said, going to be podcast, so a little bit longer, but I'm cool with it. First one we're going to talk about here is buff. So buff increases the speed of all allied demons by 15 and their tenacity by 30%. A 33% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 16.66% when attacking. That is buff. What do you think about buff's leadership?
Well, this is back when it came out for about 2 weeks. This was the best leadership in the game, you could say. Mm-hmm. Even though it's mainly for demons, it still increased demons by so much. Because it was 30 speed, right?
Yeah, it was something like that.
But even with it being buffed, I don't know. What do you think? He'd probably top 4 leadership in the game.
Yeah, you're going to see him everywhere.
Yep.
Demons are a solid comp, for sure. They're a great race. The one thing for me, I don't know if I could put it in the best category, though, because it is so race specific. You know what I mean?
I agree completely.
I love Buff's leadership. I think it's, before they reworked Shadar's, by far and away the best leadership in the game. It did take some nerfs, but it's still a really, really good leadership, and you can really put any demon under him, and they become playable, Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. And like you said, the one thing that hinders it is that it's only demons.
Yeah.
So when you're factoring just the leadership alone, I would probably put it in the good category. It's only not the best because it's not to a more wide variety. It's just demons. So, I would say good. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think good is probably a great spot for buff. There's really not much to be changed, because I don't know how you could incorporate. I mean, if it was, I understand why it's kind of only demons, because if you made that like everybody or clans, could you imagine running other?
It's the best.
It would, it'd just be so overpowered. So I think that's in a good spot at good right there. It's solid.
Me too.
All right, so we're going to talk about your boy right now. We're going to get into Darian.
Hey, rework Darian, guys.
That's right. Going. So Darian's leadership ability at level 6. Both physical and magic armor of all allies increase by 30%. Allied members of the Order have a 50% chance to remove 1 debuff at the end of their turn. What are you thinking about Darian?
It's not as bad as people think it is. First of all, it's all allies, so that right there is huge, especially in battlegrounds. For like your back teams when you're really trying to scrounge up a team, What I do, my overall Darien is 6,000, but his leadership is maxed out just because so I can have an extra leader. Leaderships in this game are actually rare. They're really hard to scrape by.
Yeah, so, we only got 18 in the whole game right now.
So anytime you get a leadership that is for everyone, has some kind of synergy, that has some kind of value. I wouldn't say it's the best. I don't know. It has a chance for the order to remove one debuff at the end of their turn. So I mean, that's not terrible. It's a pretty good leadership.
Yeah.
Me and I don't know. What do you think? I'm thinking maybe average. What do you think?
I'm thinking average is probably good. Like, before all these other leaderships came into the game, like I would have felt like Darien was straight trash. Like, why? But me and you have talked so many times that this game is so sorely lacking dispellers. And even if it's a 50% shot to drop a debuff, say it's a ability block or heal immunity, that is the difference between surviving or getting off your mass AoE ability block with Thalane. Could make a huge difference in the outcome of a battle. Giving yourself more armor, although sometimes people overlook armor, and I'm guilty of it, increasing armor by 30%, pretty hefty. That is a lot. That's a lot of damage decrease,
Especially if you have someone with a lot of armor. I mean, obviously. But,
right.
That 30% is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah. It's going to buff your tanks, and that's... If Darien's in the lead at a gear 12, he's running at like almost 55% armor for both magic and physical. That's crazy,
Nice. Yeah, so, I haven't messed with him in gear 12, but you've said a lot about him, so I need to mess around with that.
Yeah. So I think average is a pretty good spot for him, to be completely honest with you. Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm pretty happy with the average there. I mean, him as a character, I don't know about average, but I mean, he's definitely not below an average, I would assume.
But yeah, that's what we're doing, is we're judging by leadership only, and I definitely say it's average.
All right.
But real quick, what would you add to that to make him good?
To make him good, well, what I would like to maybe see is he does give like the armor increase, right? So if we T7'd him, an easy one we could say is that it ups the dispel chance, or maybe keeps it at 50% but has a chance to dispel 2 buffs, right?
I love it. Yeah.
But what else you could put in there is, I mean, the order has some of the best healers in the game, so you could work in like a shield regeneration for a heal or something like that to try to manage your survivability a little bit. Or a really cool T7, I think, could be if, you have the chance to dispel those debuffs. What if you had a chance to give yourself, even if it was like another 50% shot, to give yourself a debuff immunity? That would be kind of cool, too.
All those, man, I love it. But, like you said, just maybe making it, instead of 1 debuff, 2 debuffs, and maybe like a 60% chance.
Yeah.
That alone, but all those other ideas are great, man. I agree completely.
Yeah, I think that would take him up to a good, no problem. Yeah, I think
I'm going to eventually take him to at least gear 11, but I got a lot more people to worry about right now than that. So
yeah, I'm right with you on that. Every time I want to gear him, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do Darien next, and then all of a sudden I'm like, nope, that's not happening.
Yep, I have like 3 people that I keep I have my eyes always there. They're always my favorites, but I can never get to them because there's always someone new coming out.
Yep, I'm right with you. Actually, I have him favorited now, so I can up his levels, because I need somebody to up levels on. And then I was like,
that's what I do too.
Yep, I should up his leadership. I keep telling myself that, and never happens.
I did that. I don't know how your blue ability max crunch is going, but I have like 600. So,
wow.
So I maxed him out, and I didn't put anything else into him. Mine's at like 6,000, but yeah, I maxed him out. So
nice. And
it helps me out in Battlegrounds. So
absolutely, it does. I think I have like 40 of them right now. So, but I've been
okay. Real quick, why am I having 600, and why are you like? Because we're on the same area in the game. Why do you only have 40? Why do you think that is?
Because I think if we look at the amount of characters I have complete at level 6 versus you, I would probably have you beat.
Okay.
Because
that makes sense.
I have every character I have gear 11. I have completely 100% maxed out abilities to tier 6.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to do a roster review sometime again.
Yeah, that'll be coming up soon.
My mind went blank there. Anyways, yeah, we'll do it. We'll talk about that more on the roster review next week.
That sounds good. So,
all right, who you got next, buddy?
The next one we have up is Instructor Goram. Now, he's the only lead we have for the half-pigs at this point. And it says, all half-pigs and half-pig minions, which are the people he summons, they get 10% tenacity, increase for each allied goblin, 10% crit damage for each half-pig, and 5% crit damage increase for each minion. Half-pig minions have 50% chance to assist half-pig attacks. So we're getting crit damage increase. We're getting the tenacity, at least 10%, because you're going to have Goram in there. And then you got the 50-50 shot of the half-pig minion coming in on a half-pig attack.
I'll let you go first, because I don't know. I don't know as much about this one as you might.
Well, right now, I think people are using it because they have to. Like, my feeling on this is it's not a trash leadership, because anytime you can call an assist, pretty solid. You know, it doesn't matter how much damage you're doing. Assist is an assist, especially on somebody who gets like a cheat death. You might be able to take them out, you know?
Yep.
So, but it doesn't blow me away, because a lot of the half pigs, you're building potency for debuffs. They spread debuffs and they spread buffs. They're not really like a crit chance team. Now, like the dwarves are a crit chance team. They're there to try to nuke you down as fast as possible. The half pigs are there to be annoying, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, completely. That's what I was kind of thinking the same thing, but you have more experience with it than I do. But
yeah,
I agree, and it's very narrowed down to just half pigs. And yeah, there are people who have only demon or only elves, but every faction in this game has almost 8 to 10 characters. Half pigs don't have that.
right.
You have 4 half pigs, and then of course you got to count the minions.
Yeah,
So it's so narrowed down. That's another thing where, you know what I'm saying? It makes it a little kind of knocks a point off for him. And are you even going to use him after the leader of the half pigs come out?
exactly.
Then
We don't know.
Be a leader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll want to stick him back into a goblin team, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, that's part of what kind of brings it down for me, too, is the fact that it removes one of the better goblins from that goblin team. I mean, that he makes Adam really good, and it's hard to pull him away from that. But, I mean, like, to this battleground, I actually put Goram lead up, because I want to see how it does, so hopefully the person attacks me. Like, I put all my half-pigs with Goram, just to see how it holds, you know? I just want to see what it does. But
I did that for the first time this battleground. That's funny you said that.
yeah, I did too, and like I kind of broke up the goblins a little bit to see how they respond. But that kind of it knocks it down for me, because I don't think there's another lead that you could say hinders their race as much as a Goram lead does. You know?
Yeah. I agree, man.
And
I completely agree.
I don't think it's trash, but I don't think it's average. I think it's not the worst, is where it needs to fall.
That's exactly what I think, man. So far we're on the same page with everything. I agree.
Okay, so we're gonna. Well, go ahead.
No, that's it, man. All I was gonna say, but we'll see how our battlegrounds go, because I've never really tested it in the real world. I've only messed around with them in the test server.
Right, and like, I just quickly went over to Wiz and Ard, who's going to be the other leader. I mean, and listen to this. This is, at the end of their turn, allied half-pigs gain half-piggish for 3 turns. We don't know what half-piggish does, but when dealing damage to an enemy with Acorn, which is a move he provides, allied half-pigs and half-pig minions restore their shield by 30% of their damage dealt. and 75% chance, or a 75% chance at their attack will not remove acorn from the target. So he puts on this acorn, which we don't really know exactly what it does, and then this half piggish, which we don't know exactly what it does. So acorn increases damage taken for the next attack by 30%.
That's kind of big, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much assisting will go on, but if you got some assists going on, that's even more stuff you're getting, right?
Yeah. And I'm trying to find if they say what this half piggish does.
I don't think they do.
Yeah. It's not in any of the move kits, but the acorn increases damage by 30%, which that helps out the half pigs way more than war rams does, in my opinion.
And I mean, they're not easy to take down. The half pigs aren't. Like, they're all pretty.
It's because of the dispels. There's no dispels. It's hard to get around them.
Yep. Yeah.
You need to get lucky and have Garrett have his arrow. If he doesn't have his arrow, forget it.
And every time I get that anti-magic arrow, it's like the first turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's always when I don't need it. When I need it the least is when I get it.
Yeah, or I'm blind, then I'll get it. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to get these. I want them to at least let us know like what they're planning on doing with legendary things, man.
Yeah.
They're obviously trying to keep it a secret from everyone, but like everyone's released, right? Like I know they're not all farmable yet, but they're all released, correct?
Well, I don't know, because remember we have that one half pig that we didn't know what they were, like the chef one or whatever, and then we have stim for the dwarves. So I don't know.
That's right. I forgot about stim.
Yeah, and one of the half pigs has a synergy with somebody who's not in the game yet. Maybe it's Ambo.
Is it Kevin Bob, or do we
yes.
have that?
Yep. Nope. It's Kevin Bob. There you go. That's it.
Yeah. And they're not even in the game, are they?
No, neither is Stim. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're done, but I don't know if they're done. You know what I mean?
It's got to be the next couple months at least, and then everything should be farmable by that point. You'd think.
Yeah. I mean, they got to give you a chance to get 5, because I mean, all the legendaries unlock at a 7-star. So you got to get.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure you get the same question, like, when do we know when we have no idea.
Yeah.
And they've told me they want to keep it a secret. They want it to be a surprise, so they're not going to tell us testers either. So
not until it comes out, and then they'll say, maybe a day before they want to launch it, they'll be like, "Hey, test this."
Yep, and it's mainly because of that leak. I don't know who did it, but someone leaked something, Wukong or something, and they've cut down on us actually. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks.
But anyways.
Yep.
What we got next, brother?
Next one up, Hera. Hera herself here.
Okay.
Submission holds as their leadership. All allies from the Pride gain a 20% dodge increase. When the battle starts, all allied Pride defenders gain taunt for 2 turns. All allied Pride healers and tacticians gain invisibility, and all allied Pride fighters gain a damage increase for 2 turns. What are you thinking about Hera?
Okay, well, first of all, the dodge increase is pretty big. Dodge increase is kind of an underrated buff, but
especially now that they took it out, I could not agree more with what you just said.
Yeah, and thank God. I mean, I've noticed quite a difference, to be honest, in that. But anyway, so yeah, dodge increase. Anytime you can get some dodge is great for you. And if the other team has it, it's not good.
Right.
But I mean, she's essential to the best Pride team, and anyone who's followed me knows that's like my favorite team. So leadership-wise, I kind of want to put her in the good category, because she, just like Buff, he makes demons so good. She's not as good as a leader as Buff though, so maybe average. I don't know, because that taunt is essential for them too. For Salvador to get that taunt, because Salvador, if you have him done up right in his T7s, I mean,
forget it.
It's like it's like a snail trying to get around him. You know, I mean, it's one of the most frustrating things in the game.
And with a lack of dispels, you're screwed.
Exactly, and we don't have a lot of those. And if you use most of your dispellers already, and then you go into battlegrounds trying to take them on, you're going to be sitting there for 30 minutes, going in and out, trying different things, trying to get good RNG. And then you got Renara you have to deal with after you get around him. And
she gets invisible in the beginning, so you can't even target her if you can get around it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a huge pain. And that's because of her leadership. All that is being caused because of her leadership. It's almost in between good and average. That's kind of a hard one. I'll let you decide where you put that, but I would be happy with either one of them. But the invisibility, and then you're getting damage increase. So she's providing everything, making that team so much better. So what do you think about it?
I think she's on par with Buff, to be completely honest with you. I think if it wasn't just Pride specific, it would be the best. If it was clans, it would be unbelievable.
For sure.
For sure. But I think if we put Buff in the good because he is only demons, I think Hera can stand up to that. I mean, like you said, the Pride, you get that Wukong, Boris, Kagi, Hera, Salvador, or even, you take out Kagi and you put in Renara. Oh, you'll be there forever. Yeah. And you take her leadership from the Pride, and we're going to go over the other Pride leadership. That team is nearly not as good. Not even close to being as good.
No.
So
there's so many things like I said that the Pride team itself relies on that Hera gives. So I'm glad you said that he's on the good tier because I agree with that. I just didn't know if I was giving him too much credit because I'm biased with the Pride. So
yeah, no, I don't think you're. I think because when I kind of looked all these over before, and I'm like, all right, where am I going to kind of put these, right? And I was torn with Hera between the best and good because she completely. You can get away with a Shadar lead for demons. You can't get away with a Revolve lead and do what you can do with a Hera lead.
That's just a good back team if you have a bunch of Pride.
Exactly. It's kind of like the difference between a Soleus lead and the Darien lead. You know what I mean? It takes that team to a whole new level. So I'm kind of torn between the best and good, but it is only Pride specific. So I don't know.
Let's meet in the middle and let's do good. Because I said average and good. You said the best and good. So I agree, man. I think that's about right.
I think so too. So the next one, which is a tricky one, is Lake. And Lake, all allied pandas gain 1,000 penetration. Each time when all allied pandas counterattack, he recovers health by 100% of the damage dealt. What are you thinking on Lake?
Well, when you look at this, you have 3 panda leads, and you got to think, who do you think is the best panda lead? I don't think he's the best panda lead.
Nope, I agree.
We'd have to go look at the other ones real quick, because I don't remember real quick. I know what Kinley's is, but I don't know what Patriarch Cheese is, but I would say maybe it's the second best. It's
Patriarch Cheese is based off of heals received.
And this is how I'm looking at it. I would, if I wasn't, I use Kinley first. So obviously I think he's better. And then I would use Lake second. I haven't used Patriarch Chi in a long time in leadership. It doesn't mean it's worse. I just find this one to be more helpful than that. I could be wrong. That could just be how I play. But like you said, this one's kind of weird, man. I mean, I might be wrong, but like if you want to do more offense, is this the one you pick, or do you just stick with Kinley? Because it just seems like I'm always sticking with Kinley in every situation.
Yeah, because Patriarch Cheese, I just looked up. All allied healing abilities apply shield equal to 45% of the health healed, and then all attacks by allies from the order restore their shield by 20% of the damage dealt.
So I mean, that's not bad. This one might be the third worst, and this might be the worst one, because there's not much. I mean, I guess like you said that, I would say this one's the third worst. Or it's the worst out of the pandas. What do you think?
I agree 100%. They need to rework his leadership 100% because you have the counterattacks, but you only have 2 counterattacks from Rin the Unseen and Master Duo. They're the only ones that
falling out of favor.
Right, but they don't fit into his team. His team is the burn team because he wipes off the burn. His leadership doesn't benefit really anybody, to be completely honest with you.
Except himself, I guess.
Yeah, because but the thing is each time when an allied panda counterattacks, he recovers health.
Oh, okay. I keep reading over it. Okay, that's terrible then.
Yeah.
If it's just him, what good does that do? Because he dies pretty quickly anyways.
Right, and it's all for, the 1,000 penetration is great for, like, embers, numbers, but I think they were going to try to take the pandas into, like, the goblin order team, and it just didn't work out. They decided to go another direction. And Lake was going to be the leadership for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of like little things sprinkled through a lot of people's kits where it looked like they were trying to do something, but it didn't work out.
Right.
And so they're just waiting on like a rework to kind of take that out and do something different.
Right.
Well, then, yeah, man. Like, what would you say? Trash?
I think he's our first trash. To be completely honest with you, I definitely think he's our first trash. 100%. It's usable, right? But you're not going to use. You're only using him on that burn team in the leadership spot because he has a leadership. It's the only reason.
Right. And I haven't really read, like, this is the first time I'm going back and reading like everyone's leadership. So I really like that we're doing this video. But you just made me like have a coming to Jesus moment where I'm like, okay, wait, this is pretty bad. Why have I used this ever?
Right.
And I haven't used it in a while, but I didn't realize how bad it was. To be honest, it's been so long since I've used it. So
yeah, and if they stuck with the pandas on him, that's fine. But he's the lead for that burn team. His whole kit incorporates burning. He wipes the burning off. He pairs with Ember so well. Keep the pandas, that's fine. It doesn't have to be order specific or anything like that, but they need to, like, pandas do maybe more damage per stack of burning on the opponent. Get rid of that counterattack and all that stuff because you're not running him with a Master Duo and Rin the Unseen. You're just not doing it.
And is there a counterattack buff? Is that an actual buff, or is that just something that they do? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No, it's a buff because Buff can put it on.
So...
But he's the only character, I believe.
So there is a buff that goes above their head.
Yeah.
That's called counterattack. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, when you get it.
He doesn't apply that, does he? So
no.
That could be another thing where he just puts out counterattack buff. That alone would help out a lot.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Maybe like I don't like the random ally, but even if he was like at the end of his turn, he gives a random ally counterattack. That would make it better too.
Yeah, that would make a big difference.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I don't know if they plan on putting T7s, but I'm sure they will. It's a smart idea. So
eventually, they're going to have to because some of these older ones just can't keep up with some of the new ones.
And just one of these battle pass characters, give us a leader. They don't have to be the best leader in the world. It doesn't have to be a legendary leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Just give us a leader because we need some more in the game, man.
Yeah, absolutely. For theory crafting, especially because we're kind of stuck behind that.
Just if you gave us 1 or 2 more leaders, it would really change things up in Battlegrounds.
Oh, absolutely.
That's 2 more teams. You don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
But,
all right, we're gonna. No. Now we're gonna move on to Kin Lee. And Kin Lee, I actually love Kin Lee's leadership. All allied pandas gain 30% of their maximum health to start. Pandas recover 5% health for each critical hit dealt and each buff applied. Pandas with full health recover 5% of turn meter instead. I love this leadership.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it's only to the pandas, but he's the best panda leader.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is helpful. They're getting 30% of their maximum health. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already tankier no matter how much health they have. They're getting health for each critical hit. There's some counterattacks. There's some AoEs going on. So, and there's a lot of buffs going on. So, I mean, that's a lot of health coming back to you. And,
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I used to think Patriarch Key was the best one, and then I started doing the event. What was the event unlocked? Did they unlock Renara?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, I couldn't beat it. And then I was like, okay, I'll just try a different lead. I put Ken Lee in there, and he, like, autoed it. That's how much better he is than the other two leaders. Even if, I think he does better in real life. Like, when you're playing, it does better than it even reads. And it reads awesome,
I couldn't agree more. And the thing is when you look at the pandas, break down the pandas. Because it has that when they crit hit. How many pandas are you building for crit? I mean, Foul, you want to build for crit. Ember, you want to get that up. Rin, you want to put that on. Master Duo, you want him to hit harder. Especially if you put on those tier 7s. You want him to have crit chance. I mean, maybe that Southern Rune, right? Uncle Ho can do pretty insane amount of damage. Like, he pretty much Lake and Patriarch are really the only pandas you really aren't building in Hilda, maybe, for crit chance.
Yep.
He can use any panda can play under his lead and be successful.
That's what I was about to say. My pandas are my kryptonite. Like, that's the worst faction I have on my roster. And if you're like me and you're just running a jumbled mess of random pandas, this is the leadership you want. You might want to use one of the other leaderships if you have a certain ones built up right. But I have like Rin, I have Lake, Ember, Kinley, and Patriarch Chi. That's the other ones are like gear 1. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, so am I right? Like, if you have a jumbled, so do you think he's the best out of the pandas?
Yeah, because if you build the team right, you can build a team of Kinley, who's selfish, but he puts on his own buffs. You have Patriarch Chi, who puts on a ton of buffs. Then you have Fao. If you T7 her Grace ability, you get the dodge increase buff, and then you get Chi Death buff. Right?
Which helps, man. That's a big deal right there.
And then you have Master Duo, who puts on counter chance, attack up, crit chance up. He puts on like 3 or 4 buffs on himself. Rin the Unseen can go invisible and put on 3 buffs onto herself. They're squishy characters. Foul's squishy.
Yep.
Rin's squishy. Master Duo's a little bit better, but he's still on the squishy side. I mean, it makes that team run.
And just Kinley under his own lead is pretty good.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because he's a good tank. I've always been a fan of Kinley. I mean, he's not the best, but he's in the middle, man. I mean, I like him a lot.
I agree. I just ranked him in the last video, and I had him in the 40s, so he's middle of the pack for me.
I was going to say that. But, 30%, he's already tanky, so you give him that 30%, and then you just keep recovering that health. He's hard to get around. And whenever I go against him, I don't go for Ember, I don't go for Lake. I just say, he's going to end up taunting. I'm going to be here all day. So I just instantly start going for Kinley and just trying to kill him as fast as I can.
Yeah, you gotta kind of play him like Titania. You got to just go after Titania and nuke her down.
Yeah, she's even worse. Mm-hmm. That's when that dodge comes in. That's why she's so good, is because she can dodge everything.
Right. So here's my question for you on Kinley. Now, I'm torn between good and average, right? Because, but is his leadership only average because of the people you can put around him? Or is it just an average leadership in general? Because pandas are subpar in this game. I'm sorry, they are. Even their legendary character, Ember, it used to be ungodly, but she is not anymore.
Yeah.
So, is the leadership a good leadership? And the characters are average, or is the leadership actually average? Because I'm torn between the two.
Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
What would they be without him, I guess, is the question.
I think they would be damn near unusable. Unless unless you have that lead with all those characters up and running for the burn comp. But his leadership doesn't make a difference. You're just putting him in the lead because he has a leadership.
Yep. I think he's good, man. I think he's good enough to be in the good category. What do you think?
I'm good with that, yeah. Because I was torn between good and average, and that's a really good question you posed. You take away Kinley's leadership from the pandas, where are they? I wouldn't use a patriarchy leadership in Battlegrounds.
Me neither. So here's another question. I've never used Uncle Ho. I don't even think I tested with him much when he came out. So, do you use him behind a Kinley or a Key or Chi or whatever leadership?
You put him with Lake on the burn team.
Lake, okay.
Because
I didn't know.
He puts out an accuracy decrease and some good debuffs, but he can also apply burning.
Okay.
So you want to try to stack that burning up as much as you possibly can. But he can fit under any lead. You don't want to build a burn team and you want him to run under a patriarchy lead or a Kinley lead. By all means, he could fit in. He's very plug and play within that panda faction. But if you split the teams up, I put him in the Lake team because he can apply that burn, which increases everybody's damage. So,
I also wanted to know, because he's like one of the people I'm working on right now, and he's one of the bigger characters I need to put in my roster. So
yeah, he's good. I mean, he had a glitch that made him super OP, but he's still very, very good. He's a good champion.
Yeah, I can't wait to get him in. It's gonna make my pandas a lot better.
His accuracy decrease is it's a pain. It's a pain because you just don't seem to land crap.
Yeah. See, I'm so ready to get Ren out of my pandas, man. She's one of the most useless characters right now to me.
Mm-hmm. I said that in the rankings video. I was just like, she remember when she first came out, she hit like a truck because nobody did that. Nobody was hitting for 28K. Nobody. And
was she the first battle pass?
She was.
Who was the first battle? She was?
She was the first battle pass. Yeah.
Wow, that seems like forever ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was almost a year ago now.
Wow, time goes by, man. Man.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Rin's trash, Master Ho, Uncle Ho. Yeah, but anyways, let's move on. We're gonna be here all day.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So what do we got next?
We have General Murdoch. Murdoch, upon landing a critical hit, all allied goblins recover 20% turn meter, have 50% chance to call a random goblin into assist, and that can only be triggered once per turn.
Okay, so like we said about Kinley, Hera, and Buff, I mean, without him, the goblins aren't the goblins, right?
Yeah, I agree. This one's easy. I think he's a good, hands down.
Yeah. He's the leader. I mean, he's getting that goblin team going. He makes the goblins what they're all about. Assists. I mean, that's what you really want from goblins. The most assists you can get out of them. Man, he's the one manning that machine. So, yep, I would say good.
Yep, I agree. 100%. That he's good. It's cut and dry. He's not the best, but he is the best goblin lead for sure. 100% agree.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. I mean, I'm sure everyone else would just say, yeah. I mean, it's a given pretty much for that one.
I think that does it. I think we can move on. I mean, he's just a stud, and that's why you got him in there.
Yeah, and I mean, and as a tune, he's not bad. He's got that mass slow, and I think that's probably it. Like, that really sticks out about his kid that I like. So, yeah, he's good, man. I think it's a good position for him.
All right. So we are going to go to Nightiel.
This one's tricky.
Yes, it is. The accuracy of all allied elves is increased by 20%, right?
Yep.
They have a 20% chance for each living mage or healer in the party to remove one buff from the target. Upon landing a critical hit, they remove 2 buffs instead of 1.
This is why it's hard. The lane is the best elf leader in the game.
Is she?
But man, I faced a person who had a lot of secondary elves behind this leadership here with Nightingale, and I couldn't get past it in the back. It's very sneaky, and it's what we've been saying the last few weeks. The dispellers aren't there, and look at all the stuff she's doing in her leadership. Tons of chances to remove buffs. Like crazy.
Now, when I ranked her as an average when I went through this before I reread everything, but I think she could push good because she has one caveat in there that says elves gain accuracy of 20%. Okay, I mean, if you don't get that 20% accuracy, it's not the end of the world. But you can put any mage or healer with her, and they can dispel. Anybody in the whole game. It doesn't say order, doesn't say clans. Anybody.
Yeah. I agree, man.
I think this is a sneaky good that a lot of people might not be using. And I'm still torn between good and average. But the fact that it's so plug and play viable, I think makes it like a bottom tier good. Or a high tier average. You know what I mean?
And if you're someone starting out in the game, she's someone you get early, and man, she would help an early game player out. Because this is reworked, right? This wasn't how it used to be, correct?
No, correct.
So back when you and I were, it was probably trash. I don't remember what it was used to be.
It was horrible.
There's nothing to write home about.
No.
Yeah. So the only reason why she's like a low key good is because I don't use her as much because I really want her in my humans team on defense and on
correct.
Offense. I mean, she makes that those assists make that team on a whole nother level. So I'm trying to figure out how I can put her on a back team because her leadership's that good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, let's go with a good because it's low key really good, and with the lack of dispellers in the game, that's what makes her good. If there was more dispellers, she would probably be average. But at this moment in time, I think she's good.
Yeah, I think that not to be cliche, but I think that's a good spot for her is good. Because, like you said, the lack of dispels we have, and then you can pair her with anyone in the game that is a mage or a healer. I mean, you think you have Cruel, you got Shadar, Radash, Corkrum. I mean, there's a ton of people that could fit into that mage category.
And they don't have to be elves. So,
no.
I mean, and that's another thing is very rarely do you have leaders that span outside of their faction. So that's another big thing. If you can put other characters that aren't inside their faction. So yeah, man, I'm totally cool with her being in the good spot. Everyone's going to be in the good spot.
Maybe. We might disagree on a couple. You never know.
We're doing good so far, man. I'm on the same page with you so far. I'm pretty happy with it.
Me too. Okay, next one up. Shadar. Increases the potency of all allied mages by 20. All allied demons gain 80% to inflict slow upon an enemy for 1 turn whenever they inflict debuffs. If the enemy is already slowed, the demon recovers 25% turn meter, but no more than once per turn.
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Alright, so Shadar's leadership is way better than what it used to be. Shadar's leadership, when he first launched, to me, that was trash. It was bad.
Terrible. Yep.
Now, you're increasing all potencies to all allied mages. Now, that's huge, because a lot of mages are debuffers, right?
They need potency.
Right. So giving 20% more potency is big. But then it goes so demon-specific. All allied demons get a chance to put slow on. You know, I see this as more of like a raid leadership. Because anytime they put on a debuff, but you got to have their potency so high. But to me, it's so demon-specific. They have to be able... There's a lot of caveats. If you get this, you get this. If you have this, you get this. You know what I mean? And it's like they got to have slow already to recover the turn meter. they got to be putting on a debuff to get slow. They have to be a demon. So to me, that kind of really knocks it down. I think it's a decent leadership, but in my personal opinion, I think it's average. I think it's an average leadership. It pretty much middle of the road. You're not rushing out to get Shadar for his leadership. You know.
Would you say it's the worst demon leadership?
Yep, 100%.
What do you think? Average, or it's not the worst?
I think it's average because of what it does. Because it can be plug and played. You know, like, you know, just like Darien, you can put anybody you want under there because, well, if they're a mage, but you can still put anybody you want under there. So and it's a good leadership because putting on slow, that can screw up the team, you know. But
so
I don't think it's anything more than average. And you know what? Even it's not the worst. I really couldn't debate that one. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be high on that list, but I'm in between there. I'm okay with.
Because I've never used it honestly in any anywhere in the game, not even Battlegrounds.
Well, think about it. I mean, have you ever fought it?
I haven't. No.
Exactly. So maybe it's not the worst. It's probably the place to go then.
That's where I'm leaning towards. It's not the worst.
All right. I'm okay with that because that's the way I was thinking about just a second ago. It popped in my head. It's like, how often do you fight a Shadar lead? And if you fought a Shadar lead, are you scared of it? No.
Because if I fight a second, now this is what I'm kind of thinking though. If I see a second demons team, it's a slinger lead. But let's say every single character is gear 11 on your roster. If I'm doing Battlegrounds, I might put a Shadar lead all demons team. You know, I could be wrong. I've never done this because you'll find out what I think about Slinger's lead later. But you can put Slinger lead and put almost anyone behind it. Would you do the same if your whole roster was there, or would you just keep all those demons behind Slinger on the second team?
It depends. I mean, if you had everybody gear 11, I would probably end up using Shadar because you're going to end up with a mishmash of characters that you want to make a team of, and Slinger's lead incorporates that. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's exactly what I'm thinking. But I still like where it's at. It's not the worst. I mean,
I think
in order to get the most out of him, you're going to want your roster to be gear 11 completely. So
yeah. And I think it's more of like a raid leadership.
Which I've never used. Have you used that in raid?
I've dabbled with it, but I didn't have like enough mages to make it work because they're all so damn squishy.
Yeah.
You know, but I do want to play with it I do want to play with it because I think it deserves more attention, but it's kind of a niche lead, you know.
Yeah, and what's funny, it's kind of like the Gorham lead, like I said earlier. I've never really used it, and it just doesn't really have a place right now in the game. So I think that's right where it should be. It's not the worst.
All right, fair enough. All right, we're gonna jump over to Major Shot. Major Shot. Yes. All allied goblins deal 25% more damage if there are any members of the Order in the enemy party. Upon landing a critical hit, goblins have a 50% chance to increase the cooldown of one random enemy ability for one turn.
Okay. First of all, I do like this leadership. I don't like that it has to be the Order in the enemy party, but I can see why, I guess. I mean, I don't know. But, and then, you know, the goblins, right, are mostly about crit chance, right? And crit damage, right? So, correct. I mean, and increasing a cooldown is huge. That's a huge thing. So, of course, when you go to make a second team for your goblins, he's going to be the leader, right?
Oh, he has to be. I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd say average. What do you think?
See, I lean a little bit more towards it's not the worst. I mean, giving yourself a 25% damage increase, that's awesome. That's big, because notoriously the goblins don't pump out crazy amounts of damage. I mean, you have Pigwald, and if you can keep them alive long enough, Old Lore are your main damage dealers. So giving them more damage is huge. But if you're not putting him with goblins, you get none of that.
Yep.
Then you specifically have to hold him for the order. So say you set this guy on defense. All you got to do is take in a clans team.
Yep.
And the whole thing is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And then,
true, man.
And then what I don't like is they have a 50% chance to increase a cooldown of a random ability by 1 turn. So number one, you're not always going to get it, so you're just hoping that it happens. So essentially, you could go, if they brought in a clan's lead, you could go a whole match and not receive a damn thing from his leadership.
Yep.
No, you're right, man. Listening to that, I agree, man. I think he should be below average.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think it's trash, because if you can get that match where that RNG kicks in and it just keeps hitting the lane's AoE ability block, how pissed would you be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, or your taunt, or your heal, you know? So
Yeah.
I definitely think it's not trash, but I think it's not the worst is probably a good spot for it.
And what's something you would like to see changed or added to that?
Well, I think
Make it
you hit the
better.
nail on the head with the order. Why does it have to be order?
Yeah.
How many leaderships do we see that doesn't specify who they're fighting? You know, I think that's just kind of crap. If you want to use a shot team versus clans, you should be able to. You know?
Yeah,
And
they've got some weird caveats here and there that I don't
Yeah.
really understand.
and then up that chance. Make it a 75% chance. I mean, I don't want a 100% chance, because that'd just be
No.
bonkers. But even like 65% chance.
I was thinking 65. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, you know, that I think would be, remove that orders caveat, and then up the random ability.
Yeah, I
Chance.
agree, man.
I think
That
that'd
would
be
make them
huge.
a lot better.
All right, we got Patriarchy. So, Patriarchy, we kind of touched on earlier. All healing abilities apply a shield equal to 45% of the health healed. All attacks by allies from the order restore their shield by 20% to their damage dealt. Of their damage dealt, I'm sorry.
Yep. Just what we just said about the other one. The caveats with the order, man. If I mean, it's not a big deal.
This one I don't mind as much. I still hate it because you can't pair them with clans, but I don't mind it as much because you can control that. You can control putting him with an order team. You know, like where shots, you can't control who's
Who you're
fighting you.
going against. Yep.
Right.
Yep. I agree.
So I don't think
And-
that hinders it as much as like a shot lead does.
I like the 45% of the health healed when using a healing. I don't use it a lot, but have you ever done like a Renara with them? Does that make much of a difference?
Yeah, because when her regeneration ticks, you get back shield.
See, I've never messed around with that because she's
Yeah.
so essential to the pride. I don't ever move her around.
Yeah.
But
And like when
I-
when Kin Lee heals himself on his passive, he gets back shield. I mean, it's not a whole hell of a lot, but every healing that goes off, you get it. So
that's pretty unique, man. Like I don't think that's anywhere else like that in the game. I would call it average. What do you think?
I think average is fair for it, 100%. I think it's fair.
Just because he's putting so much percentage on the health they're healing. That's like I said, it's just unique. You can't
Yeah.
really find it anywhere else. So
And I think his leadership could go to good if the pandas get a damn healer in the game. Cheese
Yeah,
used.
too much, man.
I mean, he's labeled as a healer, but he's not really a healer. You know? I mean, he restores
Well-
shield, and he heals off the shield restored. But imagine if they had like a genuine healer. That leadership would be through the roof.
And okay, I thought Uncle Ho was a healer.
No.
Maybe you and I just thought he was going to be when he came
Yeah,
out.
we
I
were
just remember-
hoping he was going to be a healer.
Okay.
Same thing
I
I,
really
hoped
don't
with
know
Lake.
about him.
Same thing I hoped for with Rin the Unseen. Any new panda. I just hope it's them, and it's not.
They'll get there eventually, I'm sure. They're doing really good with their people they're putting out. I'm
Oh
proud
yeah,
of them.
no, I know. I agree with that too. Okay,
What up?
next one up, your boy Slinger.
Hey, Slanger.
Now, all allied demons gain 20% of their max health. Every time an ally suffers a critical hit, all allies recover 5% turn meter. Demons recover twice this amount.
Okay, this guy used to be meta. He was the leadership you wanted, and it was because of that turn meter.
Yep.
Every time you got hit with a critical hit, which happens a lot in a match, no matter what people are modded for, there's going to be critical hits going around. 5% isn't a whole lot, but when you're getting hit with critical turn meter a lot, and depending who you're feeding turn meter to, it could be dangerous. So, and then you pair them with all demons if you can, or with some demons. I mean, 20% maximum health is pretty good.
Yeah, and then they're getting back 10% turn meter.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's right. Yep. So they're getting even that. I mean, I still think he's one of the best. What do you think?
I do too. When they nerfed him, they redid his whole kit. It killed him. I mean, the only reason you're gearing a Slinger now is for his leadership. That's the only reason you're going to take Slinger to gear 11 now.
And you said this in your ranking videos. As far as a character himself, they took away that dispel, right? Or I mean, a good chance of dispelling. So he's not a good character, but his leadership is why you use him.
Yeah.
And I in Battlegrounds, I use him with dwarves, or at least Boardman and Zappy.
Yep.
And dude, I mean, they're kicking ass with that, man.
Yeah.
With a Slinger lead. I don't remember who else I put with them, but now that I've geared up my dwarves and my half pigs, I just kind of throw them behind his leadership, because that's why I think it's one of the best. Because once again, we've discussed this, it tends to go to more of a wide variety of people, even if it's 5% turn meter. You can still put anyone behind him, and that's just one of the reasons why I think. I mean, we could put him in good or whatever you think, but I think he should. I vote the best, but do you think he should be put in good?
I was torn between the best and good.
Let's do it, man.
You want to put him in the best?
I think we should.
Okay.
I have a couple. There's only two or three that I think should be up there, and I think he was one of them. I would think.
Okay. I'm good with that, because he can make anybody viable, like you said. I think that's the key to his leadership. I mean, he does have the demon caveat in there that makes demons a little better under him than anybody else.
And demons are one of the best factions in the game. So
yeah, and
so you can't really go wrong with him.
Yeah, but like you said, I'm doing the same thing. I put in my team of Tubald, Tool, Boardwin, and Zappy underneath a Slinger lead last Battleground, and I got 5. They didn't kill it, and it was like 5 victories.
It's a sneaky team. If no one's using that, do that. If you were looking for a place to put those guys,
yeah,
throw behind Slinger right now.
I don't even have Tubald. He's like 4-star gear 10. It was insane. So you put him in the back and just let people try to get around him. It's not going to happen. So
and it doesn't even have to be them. Like, it's just if you're like, man, I need a good back team, just put him in the leadership slot and put your next best characters in there.
Yeah. Just hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, he has a lot of value, man. I mean, I know it's not the craziest thing, but I just think that's where he should be, man, because there's not very many leaderships that apply to most people in the game. So,
Agreed. I agree 100%. You're right. I think he deserves to be in the best category.
And he was meta at one point, so got to show him some love.
Yep. All right, we're gonna move over to Solius.
My dude, OG.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Both the physical damage and magic damage of all allies from the Order are increased by 25%. The counter chance of all humans increases by 10% for each living human in the party. The crit chance of all allied elves is increased by 5% for each living elf in the party. The potency of all allied pandas increased by 5% for each living panda in the party.
The best.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna say it right now because it is just for the order, but when you put the right people behind him, maybe not the best. I don't know. He might be good, but I think he's the best because when you see it on paper, it's different. Because when you put him in a battle and you put a Nighty Owl with him, okay, here's my thing. Not only are the order increasing damage by 25%, but each faction in the order is getting some other separate benefit from him. So,
and then
obviously, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, I was going to say, and then all of a sudden, you attack somebody with an AoE, and all 5 of them come at you on a counter, and then you're wiped. You're just like, what the hell just happened to me?
Yep, and of course you want to have Nighty Owl in there, but you want the rest of them to be humans. And what's entertaining is going up against a goblin team. They're a pretty good counter to goblins, and they'll start hitting you with assists, and then you'll counter attack with several assists right back at them. And you'll be sitting there for like 15, 20 seconds just watching them attack each other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
I mean, you put Garrett there, because the funny thing is, if you ever noticed, when Garrett counters, if Garrett doesn't lose his magic arrow, so if Garrett has a dispel arrow and he decides to counterattack, he's going to dispel and still keep his dispel arrow. If he has slow, yeah. So putting Garrett under there, say he has a daze and you're fighting goblins and he counterattacks twice and puts daze up on their 2 heavy hitters, you just neutered the team. His leadership brings so much to humans, to the order. It's crazy.
Who do you use for a human team on Battlegrounds? Or Solius lead, I mean.
Solius, Garrett, Nighty-Owl, Batty, and Eric.
Yep, same here.
Yep.
Yeah, if you guys put that on there, one of, I think, top 3 defenses in Battlegrounds. I don't remember what I ranked them in my video, but definitely top 3 defense.
If Batty could take more of a hit, that team could be damn near unstoppable.
And for him to stay relevant this long is also saying a lot. He's one of the first. He was he the first legendary in the game?
Yep,
he was, and then it was.
He came out like a month after the game launched.
Yeah, and so just to stay viable this long, he deserves to be in the best, and he's still one of the best in the game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to. Sorry, buddy. Just say it's hard to stay viable in games like this. For a long period of time.
Yeah, he's such a carry. He's such a hard carry for anything in this game. He'll carry you.
Yeah. Well, let's just go past his leadership. His heal's great. That third ability, is it Amos' Blessing? Or maybe that's his healing. But the one where he gives cheat death.
Yeah, that's Amos' Blessing. That's his third ability. Then he's got his mass heal on his second ability. He calls in Nighty-Owl on his first ability.
I mean, he's just a freaking pimp, man.
Yeah.
He's the Gandalf of this game.
Yeah. I think at a best, it's easy place for him to be.
He looks awesome, and you get him one of the first, the first legendary you can get in the game. So definitely is very deserving. Not only one of the best characters in the game, but definitely one of the best leaderships.
100%. Yep. Okay. You got anything else to say on Solius?
I don't think so, bud.
I think we're good. Okay. We are going to head over and talk about Thelaine. And I'm torn on this leadership.
Me too.
Increases the crit chance of all allied elves by 30%. Recovers 20% of their turn meter upon landing a critical hit. Has a 50% chance to restore 1 turn to a random ability. Can be triggered once per turn. How you feeling about Thelaine?
I would also say she's the best. Back before she got, I don't know what you call it, nerf or whatever the change to it. I think it was a little bit better because it was just going crazy. I still think is just as good. How often do you see? I know the meta in the arena has changed, but in tournaments, I still use her in arena. It doesn't mean it's the best team to use. It's just like it's impossible to get her out of the main leadership spot in everything. Like whenever you want to defeat the best team in Battlegrounds, you're probably going to try to use it the lane lead.
Yeah, but here's my question, because that's exactly where my head went to. But are you using that leadership because it makes the elves better? Excuse me. Are you using it because it makes the best champion in the game even better?
The latter. It makes her the best.
Right.
So I only use her with elves in Battlegrounds to counter a specific team.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm torn. Like, I was like, oh, the best. Easy, the best. She's used everywhere. But you're using it just so she is better, not the rest of the elves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm going to make you pick this one. I don't know. It's got to be at least good, though, I'd say.
I was torn between good and average. Because her leadership is so specific to the elves, right? Can't put anybody else underneath it. You have to land the crit to get that 20% turn meter, which the elves are based on crit, so I get that. I mean, increasing the critical chance by 30% is monstrous. But then you have a 50% chance to restore one turn to a random ability. So is that going to happen all the time? And like I said, you take Thelaine out of the equation, and you put that leadership on somebody else. Are you running Nightiel? Or are you running Thelaine? Or whoever that other person is? If you put that leadership on Thalia, are you running it all the time?
I don't know, man.
You know what I'm saying? I think it has to go good, just because of what it does to her. But when you think about it like that, I think it's extremely overrated because of just the character. You know, I mean, you look at Solius's lead. Solius is dynamite if he's in the lead or not. He just makes everybody around him better. And Thelaine does that to an extent. She does make the elves crit more often. I get it. But if that leadership was on Count Delman, you know what I mean? Is it as good as we think it is?
God, dude, I don't know. Yeah, I guess good, buddy. That's a great way to look at it. Like I never thought about it that way.
And that's I didn't either until I sat down and looked at this list. Like, you could have asked me before I started prepping for this list, Bones. You could have asked me, and I would have said Thelaine's leadership hands down is the best in the game. And then when I read it through and started thinking about it, I'm like, is it really the best in the game, or does it just make the best champion that much better?
You're right about that, man. Because her as a character is so crazy. And you're right. I think it's just enhancing her kit, and not necessarily the rest of the elves or anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it does. The elves do hit harder, but the elves are so damn squishy. Imagine if it had like something to do with health in there and not increasing her crit chance. What if it increased health by 30%? Would you run her in the lead all the time? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with good, man. I mean, because I mean, we are going by just leadership, and it's only for the elves. And
yeah, I'm okay with good.
I think I'm good with that too.
Okay, now we're getting to the orc train. We're going to start with Tromgar. Tromgar. Both the potency and tenacity of all allied orcs increase by 30%. For each debuff an allied orc inflicts on an enemy, all orcs recover 5% of their health.
I'm a little... I've just never... It's kind of like those other ones where I've never really used it for anything. I've never went up against it. Maybe back in the day when I first started, I tried, and even then it didn't help me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know that orcs could use some potency.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, man? I kind of think it's not very good. What do you think?
I think it's definitely not trash, but I think it's not the worst. Like, because The only reason I think it's not the worst is because there's 2 other solid leaderships in the orcs. You know?
Yep, that's true.
And there isn't enough orcs to go around to fill a Tromgar team. Because are you going to take out Zera out of the leadership and put in a Tromgar lead? No. Maybe Rantha. Maybe. But Rantha, which we'll get to in a little bit, she's so much more plug and play. Like, if you split the teams, you're going to have to run a Tromgar lead.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's maybe average. I think it might be an average leadership because you're increasing. Every orc needs potency. Every single one of them needs potency. Yep. So you're giving them 30% to that, which is huge. And then I can't think of an orc that doesn't put on a debuff. Mar, maybe? And Mortha? I think those might be the only 2.
He doesn't put a debuff on his AoE? Or he puts one on his basic, doesn't he?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I want to say it's like bleed or something. I could be wrong, though.
I'm going to go take a look real quick. But, I mean, he plays
also,
in...
how much is 5% of health for, like, Rantha? Like, wouldn't that would barely be anything, wouldn't it? And for
but it's for each debuff.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. That's pretty good, then.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, Mar doesn't put out debuffs. Does Rantha put out a debuff? But Rantha you're going to use as a different lead. But say you put out more Doom, and he does. If you put more Doom on that team, and he does his scythe move, he's putting out armor decrease, tenacity decrease, slow, damage decrease, potency decrease, ability block. There's 6. That's 30% health coming back to him.
Interesting. Well, I've never used it much, and it's just kind of one of those ones that's kind of flown underneath the radar for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad. I mean, I wouldn't rush out and use it. I just don't think it's as bad as it is. People might think it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I like average for that.
Yeah, I think average is fair.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think average is fair for that, for sure. And then this one will probably be short because I think Zera.
Okay, you may disagree with me, but I think it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Just so
you want to break it down real quick, and then I'll give you my opinion.
Yep. Oh, I'm moving my screen. Clicking the wrong screen. All right. Potency and maximum health of all orcs increases by 20%. When the battle starts, all enemies receive tenacity decrease, armor decrease, damage decrease, and buff immunity for 1 turn.
Okay, well, we just said this just a second ago. Orcs need potency bad.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them need health pretty bad. So this is pretty good right there, And then, and then this next part, I mean, he's putting that whole entire team at bay for 1 turn.
Yeah.
That stops many tanks on a lot of teams.
Eric shield breakers.
Specifically Pride. Now, at the moment, I don't know if they're going to ever fix this because I don't think they have yet. But all of a sudden, a bug appeared where we talked about it earlier, where Hera will give Salvador the taunt. Well, if you counter them with this lead, he won't be able to put that taunt up, and you can pretty much just wipe through them. And I mean, as a character herself, she's pretty good. Her AOE is good. She's putting health block out there, so Renara's not healing up and everything, and you can wipe through people pretty quickly. She also has that 3-hit thing where she can ability block, amongst other things I can't think of right offhand, but it's really good. It's better than what it is even on paper. And I said this, it's one of the biggest game changers her leadership is in Battlegrounds. And leadership-wise, I kind of want to put her in the best. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. She's
anything else you want to say about it?
You know what? And she has that caveat in the beginning where orcs get potency and health, but you're not really using her for that. I mean, it does benefit the orcs, but you can build behind her, and you can just put a whole bunch of nukers behind her with a solid defender, and then by the time that rotation comes back around to like where Eric the Shieldbreaker can put up his debuff immunity, Well, one, he's either wasted it because the AI plays it wrong every single time, or you have him dead. You know?
Yeah, and I'm noticing that. I mean, if the lane's going to fall out of favor, it's for this lead right here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people ahead of me aren't using the lane lead anymore, and I've seen Slinger, and I've seen mostly this lead here though.
Mm-hmm.
With
because
Zara.
it screws up the AI. The
So,
AI is
it-
always going to go through and do their moves
Mm-hmm.
like they normally would, and it just destroys the AI. That's why.
Well, even me in tournaments, I'll mostly be going against the lanes, and then I'll go into a match thinking I'm going against the lane. I'll be hitting my taunt like the AI would. I'm like, what's going on? And I look and I'm like, oh, Zara's in the lead.
Mm-hmm. I did it in
like,
this one with Kelvin. I taunted like 3 times with Kelvin, and then I get slaughtered. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, and if you don't wait, I mean, it may not even matter. But sometimes if you wait and do those the second time around, you might have a chance. But if you waste your taunts and everything, you're done, man. And you have the right people behind you. Yeah, you're done. I mean, like you said, you could throw almost anyone you want. You can put the lane team and just take the lane. You could actually put this lead in and then put the lane over to the side. I see that all the time too. So
Yeah.
this is at the moment one of the best leaderships in my eyes.
I agree. 100%. Everything you said was spot on. All right, 2 left, buddy. 2
Let's
left.
do it.
We have Rantha. Rantha is much like Soleus for the clans. Both physical damage and magical damage of all allies from the clan increase by 25%. All allied orcs gain lifesteal for each living orc in the party. The crit damage of all allied goblins is increased by 10%. And the tenacity of all allies from the Pride is increased by 5% for each living Pride character in the party.
Go ahead. You go first.
Now, I kind of said this one here reminds me of Soleus, and it does, but it's nearly not as good in my mind.
I agree.
And the damage increase is awesome for the clans, but all allied orcs gain lifesteal, 5%. That does nothing.
Yeah.
The goblins get the crit damage, but the goblins do a majority of their attacks on counters, so you're getting decreased damage anyways. So I'd like to see if that was crit chance for the goblins, way better. And then the Pride gained tenacity by 5%.
Which
What?
is
Why?
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, also, how many times do you see a Pride behind a Rantha lead? I mean, maybe if you have some random characters, you need to fill in. But
I got the last battleground, the last shield, so I have 3 in all of them now. And I have Rantha and like Yogi, what the hell is that? Roxy, and like,
Really?
yeah. I was like, I got to put something back there.
Yeah, I do the same thing with her. I just throw a bunch of stuff behind her to
Right.
fill in that spot.
I mean, she, if you took out where she wasn't the clans, you know what I mean, where you gave the damage increase and she just gave orcs lifesteal or whatever, it would be trash.
Yeah.
They tried to make her, I think, like the Soleus for the clans. It just didn't hold up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can tell it's almost worded exactly the same as his, just different stuff. So yeah, and she was one of the first leaderships that you used in the game when it first. It still kind of is if you're a free to play or not free to play. If you're a beginner player,
Oh yeah.
she's the first one, and she's a great starter one. But yeah, as you go on, what do you even think? It's not the worst.
I was torn between that and average just because of the plug and play viability. I think it deserves like a very low average.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
All right.
Because I see a lot of people praise it a lot too. So I'm definitely not mad about it being average.
Yeah, I think it's just an average lead. It's not like super overly flashy, but it's usable. You're still going to continue to use it in battlegrounds because you're going to have to, But
Yep, I agree, man.
All right, and then for the final one of this video, we have Revolve. All allies from the Pride gain 30% of their maximum health and have a 50% chance to restore 1 turn to a random ability at the start of their turn.
I mean, it's not bad. It's very simple, straight to the point.
It is huge in raids. Huge in raids.
Okay, really, Cloud don't really ever use him. Who do you use in raids with this?
You stack them with the damage dealers from the Pride.
Okay.
Boris, Kagi, Yogi to try to get the slow on, and I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, just put in the damage dealers.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to try that because I just throw my Pride in. That's like a hair lead.
Yeah.
So I'll start doing Revol lead then.
Yeah, try it out. I mean, you'll last a little bit longer, not significantly longer, but you can squeak out another 30k, 40k, 50k damage, you know.
Okay, yeah. I'm just so stupid with the raid. Any kind of tip like that helps, and I didn't know that. But
yeah, I'm trying to learn it. I'm not the best with it either, so.
It's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a whole different animal. But you know, giving that 30% to Salve would help out. Giving it to Renara might help out. And just the 1 turn to random ability. It's a 50% chance. It's 1. It could be someone ability you don't care about. It's a good back team if you have like all your Pride Gear 11.
Right.
What do you think about it?
I think it falls into the category of not the worst. Like, you're not rushing out to get Revol for his leadership. It's okay. It's usable, but it doesn't blow you away. It's kind of, you're going to use it if you have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think putting it in not the worst is a way to go. I mean, there's not really a whole much to say about it. I mean, you could even make the argument for average, and I could see that. But in the grand scheme of things, like how we're ranking this, I think it's not the worst is a good place to put it.
Yeah, because I don't think it's better than... I don't know. I mean, it's kind of on par with the average guys, but I could also see it. It's not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's average? Because, I mean, if you want to move it up there, I'd be okay with it.
Well, is it better than Major Shot and Shadar? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's on pace with what we have down there. I think it's on pace with a Goram. Because Goram, you're using it because you have to. Shadar, again, you're not rushing out. Same thing with Shot. I think it's right in there. You know what I'm saying?
And you're only using it if you're in Battlegrounds, in like a back team. That's the only time you're going to use that. So,
or in the raid, much like Shadar, you know? So
true, yeah, you just said that, which is news to me. So raid. I think that's perfect, man. I think that's pretty good right there.
All right. So we did it. We broke down all 18 leaderships.
We did good, man. I like it. We're pretty much on the same page for all of them.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, and I think this will help people kind of focus on characters for Battlegrounds, for raids. So I think this is huge. So thank you for coming on and doing this with me. I love these podcast videos where me and you can just talk the game for a while.
Dude, I love it. You need to quit working so hard, man.
Yeah, I know.
These with me a lot.
I know. We could have done this live, and people could have been yelling at us.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some after this.
Yeah.
I can see the lane lovers going crazy on us right now.
Yeah, or the guy who strictly runs Lake. Yeah.
I have a friend that loves the Lake lead. He's been trying to get me to run it.
Oh, yeah. No, and you know what? Maybe we're missing something. So that's why I love these videos, because leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think of the list, where we have it. We're going to save this and put it on both mine and Bones' Discord, so it's there for everybody. And then, as always, if you got questions, hit us up. So.
Yep, and guys, we don't get mad if you disagree with us. We love
that's the whole
conversating
point.
with you.
Yeah, and just like with my tier list, it's the whole point, you know.
Yep.
So
me and Zeri both love this community. We love you guys to death. So
yeah,
always and if there's things we're missing, like Zeri just said, like let us know, because sometimes we don't think about things all the time. Me and Zeri sit here and talk to each other, and both of us will say like at times, I didn't even think about it like that. That's a good point. And, so we love, but yeah, man, I love this format, this thing you got going. We should do this for other things besides leaderships.
I think we should.
So when you're just messing around with stuff like this, like start coming up with some whatever other ones you think of, and
well, maybe they can tell us what do they want to see. We can rank battle pass characters. We could rank. We could do individual races this way.
Yep.
You know. So there's a lot of stuff we could do this way. For sure, man. That'd be fun. So yeah, guys, comment down and let us know like what you would like to see us do in the same kind of format. This is our first time doing it, but I had a blast doing it. It's very easy, very simple, and it's a lot of fun.
And it's cool because most creators do these kind of tier lists, like behind the scenes, and get it all made up on a GIF and pop it up. But we just did it live right here. Well, sort of live right here in front of everyone, and I've never seen that done actually. So
yeah, and if we want to, if you guys want us to, we could do one of these live, so we could have your input as well.
Totally.
That would be super fun. Yeah.
And
Bonez is the live streamer.
Whether we do that or not, man, we should do a live stream sometime soon.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So, but we have gone on for about an hour and 25 minutes. So we are going to wrap this video up here. So Bones, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out. I love you, man. This is great. So thanks for coming on.
No problem, brother. You know, I love being on here with you, man. I love you. You're a great guy. I'm always here for you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
And,
Same.
I love you, XMG fam. I love you, Dragon Champions fam. I appreciate everything you guys there are doing for me, supporting me, being there for me, and just loving the game like I love it. So, you know, I'm always here, Zeri. You know, I love you, brother. And I appreciate,
same, man.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Well, it goes both ways, my friend. So I'm going to have a link to Bones' channel down below. So if you haven't checked him out, he does a lot of good stuff. If you're looking to get better in Battlegrounds, he is the guy to go watch. I'm telling you that right now. His PvP knowledge surpasses mine immensely. So if you're just struggling in that area, and he also does a lot of other good stuff, link in the description down below. Make sure you go over there and show him some support. So
also, what not to do in Battlegrounds.
That's why I don't post my Battlegrounds right there.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, guys. So with that being said, my XMG family members out there, you know we love you. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take us away, Bones.
Hey, you know what this means? Make war, not love, y'all.
Yeah, that's right. We're out.